Hello, hello, and hello to all of you out there. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to the Get Your Guide Coaching Podcast. I have an amazing guest, and we are going to blow your mind today. Coach Darcel is with us. She is a transformation coach, and we're going to be talking about mindset. We're going to be talking about neuroscience. We're going to be talking about timelines and quantum jumping and all of that, because I know for many of us, we don't really talk about those things. And I actually think it's very important, especially as it pertains to your love life, how you can get closer to your love goals through a lot of mindset and neuroscientific work. And so, without further ado, Coach Darcel, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. So excited to be here.
I'm so excited that you're here too. And for the people that are watching on YouTube, honey, she has all the color on. She's making me look like a bum on the street on my own show. She is looking good and she is literally like shining. Girl, you have this aura about you. And so I'm just really happy that you're here. Tell the girls what you do and why you're the best at what you do.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So, I am a certified brain trainer and also master certified transformation coach. And all of that is just a fancy way of saying I help people to get out of their own way in order to create the life they truly deserve and desire. And exactly what Anwar said, it's all about shifting to your highest timeline in order to get the love, the money, the success, the fame, the fortune, whatever it is you're desiring by using our most powerful tool, which is our brain.
Yeah. Let's talk about it because you know that this podcast is really focused on Black and Brown women. And I know that identity shapes our reality so much. And so, what are some of those limiting beliefs that you see so much, especially as it pertains to race and gender and maybe past experiences, in dating?
Yeah, absolutely. So, this is actually one of the most powerful questions we can ask ourselves, especially as Black and Brown women. And the minute you are courageous enough or brave enough to say, what are some of the limiting beliefs I'm holding, especially as it pertains to dating, that is when the game absolutely changes. And in my line of work, I always narrow it down to like the big three. The top three limiting beliefs I see when it comes to race and gender, especially with dating. Number one, it is this belief that my standards are too high, right? We are sold this story that girl, you're doing too much, you're too extra. Every holiday dinner, you're going home, maybe big mama, grandma's coming up to you, girl, you need to settle down. We're sold this lie that our standards are too high, and this belief creates so much contraction, so much shrinking, playing small, and also accepting the bare minimum. Like, let's be real, accepting the bare minimum in the dating roles. And
Can I
also
just
number
say
three,
something about that really quickly? Because I have consultations every day. Actually, I don't do them myself anymore, but when I was doing them every day and I would ask the ladies, what is your goal? They would say, yeah, I would love to, date people. I was like, girl, that's low. That's bare minimum. You want a guy. You want to be in a relationship. You want to get married. We got to speak about what we want. So I just want to echo what you're saying in that, like, some of us won't say what we truly want in fear of the fact that it is too much, either from community or from even, a higher power or judgment about what other people will think.
100%. I love that so much. That is one of those limiting beliefs that it's so subtle because we grow up in environments where the first person we ever saw settle was our mom. So we're not going to judge our mom. We just see, oh, it's natural to settle for someone because you're getting too old, girl. You know, you waited too long, you missed the boat, all of that, which is actually the second biggest limiting belief I see in the dating world and with women, Black and brown women especially. It's I'm too old. I waited too long.
Running out. I hear that every week. Yeah.
Yeah, I focused on my career. I should have done it sooner. I love reading and I'll go into like social media, look at the posts, look on the comments. And some of the comments I always see from men, unfortunately, will be things like, oh, wait until you hit your 30s and you're dried up and no one wants you. So there's this narrative going on for Black and brown women. Oh, you waited too long. So now you better get what you can get, girl. Settle for
Yeah.
what you can settle for, which again, we know is completely false. And lastly, it's this limiting belief around trauma, like real life trauma women have had. And it's a story. I'm too broken. I'm too broken to ever really find love. I've had too much abuse, too much neglect. And again, all three of those are limiting beliefs that can be rewired. However, you've got to be aware of the box in order to break free from the box.
Yeah, 100%. Well, this podcast is all about, moving forward, progress, and action items because we're all schoolgirls at the end of the day. So, how can we start rewiring and rewriting those stories?
I love that question so much. Again, it all goes back to the brain and you know me, I love three. So I always do this in threes. It's super simple.
I'm gonna
Number
start
one,
calling you Trinity Girl because you're giving me everything in threes. Uh-huh.
let's go. Yeah, my favorite movie, The Matrix. Yes, number one, it's really becoming again aware of the limiting beliefs that you're holding because you can't escape the matrix if you don't know you're in the matrix, right? We know in the
Mm.
movie Neo had to take the pill and then oh my God, the world opened up. It's the same thing. You've got to become aware of the limiting beliefs you hold around dating, whether I believe I'm too old, whether maybe we hear a lot, oh, I'm too educated. Men are intimidated by an educated woman. All of these limiting beliefs. So number one, there has to be an awareness. Number two, this one is dirty and it feels really hard. It's this radical acceptance for the role that you are playing in your own suffering, right? Until you are aware that it's not something outside of you. If you believe my happiness, my joy, it's my parents' fault, it's my uncle's fault, it's this person's fault, you will continue to look outside of yourself as opposed to understanding obviously nothing that happened to anyone as a child is their fault. However, it is 100% our responsibility to heal as adults. And when you take this radical acceptance, then you can start creating change, right? I'm going to own it in order to disown it. And last but not least,
Wait, before you
act-
go to the third one, girl, can we talk about the second one? Because I think that there is a balance here, right? I think that there is honor in being able to acknowledge your lived experience, right? I think what you're saying is that you get to understand that, but also understand your responsibility in your own healing, not necessarily the experience. And I just want to clarify that.
Absolutely, that's 1000% correct. Because oftentimes I'll hear, which is very valid, exactly what you said, the lived experience of, well, you don't know what happened to me as a child. Absolutely. You don't understand that at a young age, my trust was broken by men.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All these things are real and they do affect the way you show up and the way you have a fear of intimacy, a fear of vulnerability because you've experienced real hurt. And also, right, the next part of that is there also gets to be a radical acceptance that as a child, it was not my fault. However, as an adult, it is 100% my responsibility to see the patterns that are no longer serving me, the things that helped me to survive childhood, but they're
Yeah.
no longer helping me in adulthood. And those are the things that we take radical acceptance for. And we begin to rewire and rewrite, which is that third step. You have to actually take action. Like, we can't kumbaya and just pray all day. You've got to
But what
actually take
kind of action should we be taking when it comes to like some of these stories that we're having?
Absolutely. So I love that question. The action we want to take are things that are going to directly challenge false assumptions. For example, there are no good men left. Let's say a little girl who grows up, her trust has been violated by men. She grows up with a story, men aren't safe. You know, men have always dropped me all my life. That's a very real lived experience, right? Step one, she understands that I keep on attracting men that are not safe as an adult over and over and over. They ghost her, they cheat on her, they abuse her, misuse her. Number one, she's going to become very aware of that pattern. Oh, I keep on calling in men that are unsafe. Okay, number two, she's going to take radical acceptance. She's going to say, you know what? As a child, as a little girl, my trust was broken by men. As a result, I keep on allowing unsafe men access to me, right? I don't see my real true value and I keep on allowing myself to be love bombed. I keep on accepting the bare minimum. I keep on taking on men as projects as opposed to partners. She becomes radically accepting that I have a role to play in this. Last but not least, she takes action, as in maybe it's joining Anora's coaching program, maybe it's listening to podcasts like this, maybe it's reading good books, maybe it's hiring a mentor, maybe it's doing therapy, maybe it's going to a rage room, maybe it's scripting,
Yes, for
visualizing.
the rage room. I think a lot of us need to do that, and a lot of us aren't.
It's so good. I have my clients do rage rooms all the time. They are like, it's phenomenal. And I'm like, I need a video or it didn't happen. It's
Yeah.
phenomenal. But it's taking action that's going to help you to break out of those old stories and allow yourself to really create something new.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for kind of breaking that down. So, for those that are listening, please pause this and literally get your pen and paper out or your notes app out and do this exercise for yourself to help you start to rewire not just your brain, but also your body as well, right? Your body also needs to make sure that you're feeling safe, especially as a woman of color. I love that so much. Let's talk about mindsets because I saw a video that you had done around mindsets, and I was blown the F away. And I thought, oh my God, she's cracked the code on like identifying how specific mindsets will keep you stuck. And so, can you go through those five mindsets and like just how you see most often women struggling with those mindsets in dating?
Great. Absolutely. Thank you. So, this has truly been like one of my most popular videos on TikTok to date, and the DMs and the stories. I was like, okay, this is something more people need to hear. So I'm so excited and honored for the space to talk about this here. So basically, in my work, I have found that there are five very clear archetypes or identities, and they show up most often in dating. Number one, there is the victim. Number two, there's the skeptic. Then there's the dreamer, there's the seeker, and there is what I call the shifter or future self slash embodied version. It's all the same thing. And what I have found is that because of the way our brain works, we are never dealing with people. We are always dealing with patterns. And
Mm,
when we recognize the pattern within ourselves, we become unstoppable for recognizing the pattern in other people. If you can understand yourself and your patterns, there is no man that can come over and love bomb you, sweet talk you, none of it. It won't work because you are so familiar with yourself. So those archetypes or identities or mindsets, number one, you have the victim. And again, this speaks to the little girl who was victimized growing up. You become a woman who has a mindset of a victim, which is life is unfair. Nothing good ever happens. It never goes my way. When it rains, it pours. All of these different things that are called like to me consciousness, which basically life keeps happening to me.
mm,
And
mm.
one of the emotions that characterizes the victim mindset, it's just sadness. Like period and point blank. Life has been heavy. You've been dealt heavy hand. Life is heavy. You feel sad. That shows up in dating, as in you might be that girl who gets the guy, you're going on the date, and you just keep having these inner conversations of like, oh my God, I can't believe this is actually happening. I can't believe he chose me. I can't believe he called me back. I can't believe we're going on a date. Underneath all of that is this belief that I'm not worthy.
Mm.
That's that victim mindset. Secondly, we have the skeptic, which basically is the polar opposite of the victim, right? So it's the same coin, different side. The skeptic is that little girl who learned early on, people can't be trusted. People are going to drop me. Nobody has me.
Or
I
men
can't.
specifically can't be
For
trusted
me,
just based
yes,
on
men,
some of the
absolutely.
rhetoric and conversations that elders have shared with you in a way to try to protect you.
Absolutely. And you might have had a father who was present in the home. We talk a lot about, oh, single mother, this. This can occur in a two-parent household. You have a father who was present, he provided, however, he was emotionally unavailable. And your mother carried the emotional load. That creates this mindset, exactly what you said. Men specifically cannot be trusted. They can't be trusted to hold me. They can't be trusted to really see me. That creates a mindset of the skeptic, which is this is our angry emo girly, where you're the person who's saying, there are no good men left. Ninjas ain't a lot of that kind of rhetoric where you believe there are no good men and there's no one out there for you.
Yeah.
Period. Point blank. And
There's
you're
no
angry.
trust
No
in
trust.
others
Absolutely.
or in self.
Absolutely. And you're angry. You're very angry. Well, why is this life? Well, why are people this way? And what ends up happening, oftentimes this one is subtle, but if you are a woman who's listening to this and you ever hear yourself saying, well, I don't need to make boom, right there. Oh, well, I just don't trust people. I don't open up. I don't like being vulnerable. All of these are red flags for skeptic mindset where you are angry at the world and you've learned to be hyper independent because you couldn't trust anyone. I don't have friends. I'm a lone wolf. All of those are indicators that you are in that skeptic mindset.
And I just want to say, in the work that I do, the majority of my clients and the majority of women that I talk to that are Black and brown are in the skeptic category. We gotta call a spade here. This is why we're talking about these five mindsets. So please, if you identify with one of them, please don't hesitate to reach out to us, to tag us in a story or email us because we want to know about this and we want to help you move through this mindset to another one. So I just wanted to share that piece too.
Absolutely. That's huge. I love that, Anwar. I think that again, thank you for the space you have created and are providing simply because you are exactly right. Skeptics are those people who are going to say, oh, I don't need that coaching. I don't need that help. I do it by myself. I've always done it by myself. And it's like, and that's why you're by yourself for
Mm,
that exact reason. And the invitation, there's no shame, guilt, or judgment, but there is
mm,
information that you
yeah.
are invited to get support. And for a skeptic, that is one of the hardest things to do because it's very hard to let somebody in. But wherever you were wounded, that's where your medicine is. You were wounded by people, by men. That's going to be where your medicine is to allow yourself to be held and heal in that. Next, we have the dreamer. This is where I find the majority of the Christian girlies
The
and
lover
the
girls. The lover girls too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You're like, oh, one day if it's God's will, I'm just praying, lover girls. I did my vision board. I drank my moon water. The woo-woo girlies are here too. I was out dancing naked under the full moon. And it's
Not
like, well,
naked,
yes,
girl.
and inspiration without application leads to stagnation. If you are not taking action, you are going to be stuck in a feeling of a lot of hope. However, there's no action, which leads to hopelessness. That hope will turn on its head into hopelessness if you're not taking action. The flip side of that coin, same energy, just a different end, you have the seeker. So this is for the girlies who are trying every technique under the sun. You are manifesting, you're doing the 369 method, you've joined every coaching program, you've done all the books and the courses and the journals, and you still don't have your guy. You still don't have your result. That is simply because you are in the energy of chasing. The emotion, it's desperation. You're hustling,
Mhm.
you're grinding, you're still in that left brain that is masculine energy versus the right brain, the feminine, which is receiving. You're
Yeah,
still trying to chase something. And in nature, as you teach, the feminine never chases, like she magnetizes and attracts.
yeah.
Last but not least, we have, let
Let's
me,
talk about the seeker for a little bit because I want to offer that for many parts of your life, seeking has probably served you well, right? You're chasing the bag, you're working overtime at work, and you're finding new and different solutions, right? And so sometimes we think that we can transfer that sort of mindset into dating and love and relationships, but a lot of that actually is working against you. And so it is very important. A lot of my clients and a lot of women that I talk to say, I'm just going to go hard on this and it'll happen. And it's not about going hard, right? It's about actually showing up and showing up in a certain way, a certain energy that, to your point, Coach Darcel, attracts your person. And so that's really the focus more than anything else. But bring us home, girl. Let's talk about that future self.
yeah, absolutely. So I love that. And that is truly the segue for future self, which is basically the version of you who has the thing you're desiring. And there's a lot of quantum physics behind this and a lot of law of assumption. Basically, at the end of the day, what science has proven, there's a lot of theories on this too, is that essentially there are all these different realities and timelines and versions of yourself. There's a version of you who has on a blue jacket. There's a version of me who wore a white shirt. And what ends up happening is our goal is to live from the end. Instead of looking for your partner and looking for this beautiful life, you're going to look from this life, as in the version of me who has the guy. How does she think? How does she feel? How does she act? What kind of sheets does she sleep on? What kind of bra does she wear? What does she eat in the morning? You want to become very familiar with the version of yourself who has the thing in order to train your brain to believe we already have the thing. Our subconscious mind does not know the difference between real and imaginary. And the minute you live from a mindset of the future self, I am her, I am that girl, I have the thing I desire, your reality has to conform to that. It is not woo woo, it's proven science that you can train your brain to believe you've already received the thing. And that will help your actions to conform and your reality to reflect back to you that, oh yeah, I am chosen. Oh yeah, I am that girl. And as a result, people will be magnetized to you. Your guy will be magnetized to you by living from the end instead of looking for the end.
I love all of this so much. So, everyone's homework out there is to get a piece of paper out and to write down who you are from your future self, right? How does she think? How does she move? What does her day look like? How does she feel? I think the feelings are also very important as you're documenting this. What does she wear? Think about it from a sensory perspective so that you can be mastering all of those senses. What does she smell when she wakes up in the morning, when she goes to bed? Does she take a military shower or a nice luxurious bath? What other things should they be thinking about, Coach Darcel?
I love that so much. Something that I do to make it very much normalized, I go all the way down in detail to like what brand of peanut butter does she use? Like keeping it 100% real, what kind of underwear does she wear, right? Because
Yeah.
oftentimes we do things where, like, sis, if you are still wearing those postpartum panties and breastfeeding bra and your son is 29, my girl, you've got to ditch that stuff because it creates this identity of, oh, well, I'm still waiting. I don't know. The version of you who's living the life you desire, what down to the T does she eat for breakfast? What kind of fruit? Smoothies? Does she journal? What kind of pen? What kind of shoes? What kind of socks? You want to make it so normal being her. And it's not fake it till you make it. It's really be her until you see her. And the more
Love
you
that.
embody your thoughts, feelings, and actions, it has to appear in your reality. That's the science of it.
Okay, you keep on talking about science, but you're not quoting anything. And what I know about my listeners is that they love science, but they need to know some of the data. They need to have it backed up. And a lot of people talk a lot
Absolutely.
of ish about science and quantum leaps and things like that. So I want to hear a little bit from you about what is the science, what's the research, if you have any studies, what did they find? Because, you know, I got a lot of seekers out there as well. They've
Absolutely.
heard a lot of different stuff, but we need to have the backup, honey.
Absolutely, 1,000%. Two books that I will recommend straight out the gate. This is like number one reading material for my clients. Read these books. And again, there are literal pages of cited, peer reviewed scientific research. Number one, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself: How to Lose Your Mind and Create a New One by Dr. Joe Dispenza. The science, quantum leaping, timelines, all of it, it is in there. It's laid out. Number two, it is The Divine Matrix by Dr. Greg Braden. This one is a game changer simply because the studies that are shown and shared, they give voice and literal data and research to timelines, to the fact that this is not woo woo. This is not just, oh, well, science, science. Well, no, no, these are like quantifiable studies. Another study that I always quote, Harvard and Stanford have done so much research around the fact that when you shift your assumption, when you visualize, when you imagine something as though it's already happened, you get real results in the 3D world. One such study, I believe his name was Dr. Alvarez, I might be saying it wrong. He did a study where he had two participants and he asked them, one group of musicians, I want you to imagine you are practicing scales for 2 hours a day, a new scale. The other group, he actually at them at the piano practiced two scales. Okay. What they did was they wanted to find out when you visualize something, does it actually create a new pathway in your brain? Will something actually change in the 3D world, which is basically everything we're talking about here: timeline shifting,
Yeah.
imagining your future self. What they did was for 5 days or so, the participants visualized 2 hours a day. They were playing a scale. Okay, they never touched the piano. The other group of participants, they actually played the scale on the physical piano for 2 hours. Long story short, at the end of the study, this has been replicated, duplicated. This particular study, they found that the group that did not physically touch the piano, they only visualized playing the scale in mind, they grew the same neural pathways. They lit up the same regions of the brain of learning something new as the group that physically sat down and played the piano. There are other studies by Dr. Langer where they had a group of men and they shared with them, we want you to imagine you are 22 years old again. These men were like 70 or 80, and they had them for about 5 days to a week in a house where they imagined, okay, we are 22 again. They visualized it, they pictured it in this house, and where they had, old posters of like Marilyn Monroe and military music, things that reminded them of the good old days. And at the beginning of the study, they measured their height, they measured their blood pressure, they measured all the things that were ailing them because they were 70 and 80. At the end of the study, just by them visualizing for those 5 to 7 days, imagining that they were now the versions of themselves they desired to be, 22 years old, the research, quantifiable, statistically significant, they found that these participants had increased IQs, they had shifted heights, they had longer fingers, they had lower blood pressure, they had healthier hearts, they had all of these things. When the researcher says when they pulled up, some of them were outside playing football and running, right? Why do we care? Simply because this is further proof that by them imagining they were 22 years old again, they were actually able to create physical change in their reality to where their fingers were longer. Why is that? Oh, because they didn't have inflammation in their body from the arthritis. They were playing football. They were doing
Yeah.
things that they couldn't do before. That is the heavy science. And again, there's so much research on the power of visualizing. When you imagine it, you literally affect your 3D reality.
Thank you for sharing that. Sometimes I think it's really hard for us, people of color, to visualize. I think one, when we grow up, we actually don't have a lot of time to just be kids and we don't have time to daydream. And that's not something that is actually really encouraged in most of our households. And so, for any of the ladies out there that are like, this sounds great, but like I kind of don't know how to do it, or I've tried it and nothing really comes about, like, what would you say to them?
I love that question. Very relatable. The first thing I would say is throw away every Tyler Perry movie you've ever watched today. Like, go ahead and Turn it on off. Go ahead and
Girl,
unsubscribe.
she said it, I didn't, girl. She said it, I didn't,
Yeah,
girl.
all of
I'm
the
saying
content,
it.
the straw, and go ahead and get rid of all that simply because this is part of why Black and brown women have such a hard time. We have a hard time with visualizing and seeing it. It's because we are constantly inundating ourselves with every single narrative that is the exact opposite of what we want, right? Like, no hate to Tyler Perry, however, much hate to the movies because they continually portray Black and brown women in struggle, in bare minimum love, and well, you need to let him run you through the ringer, and then he's going to have a come to Jesus moment, and now you'll be happy. All of these things create a narrative of what's the point in dreaming? Look at what society's showing me, right? So for the person who's struggling, seriously, you get to only watch movies, listen to music, read books that
This
align with what.
also pertains to social media and what you take in, right? Because I've
Absolutely.
seen over the last couple of years, a lot of the dating coaching talk is very toxic, very, the popping of the red balloon is like humiliating men and women left and right, and it makes it, putting that energy into your psyche, I don't think helps either.
It absolutely. Thank you for saying that. Like, it's not entertainment. It is instructions for your subconscious mind. I don't care how much people say, "Oh, well, it's just I'm just watching it. It's just fun." But it's not though, because your subconscious mind has no knowledge or concept of a joke. So when you're constantly inundating it with videos and music and social media accounts about there are no good men left and it's hard out here. Oh, look at this study. Nobody's checking for black women. When you do those things, you're telling your subconscious mind, I want more of this because at the end of the day, our brain does not care what is real. It only cares what is repeated. And Anwar, literally, I did a video on TikTok about straw. Just I was like in my car and I was like, you know what, let me talk about straw. I'm seeing all these videos of people crying and weeping and oh, poor Taraji. So I just did a video and it went viral. And I mean, the DMs and the comments I was getting from my good sisters about, oh, you're tearing down another black man and how dare you? Because people are so married to the struggle. Black and brown women, we have grown up seeing it so much that the minute you or I or someone starts talking about, no, 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 there is a better way. You can have
Correct.
the happy ever after. They will
Correct.
attack you to hold on to that identity of struggle. Not your listeners, of course, but down the road, those listeners, they will attack you because people are married to a
And
struggle.
systems will too. Do you know how many deals that have been cut off because I've told Black women to date everybody and not just Black men? Production companies, agents,
Yeah,
right? Publishers, they've all
yeah.
said, I can't do it.
Mm,
Fine, that's okay. So
absolutely.
I'm just sharing that it's like it's not just media, it's also systems and institutions as well that you might have to step away from if you are to find your SP, your special person, and get to your love outcomes and your general desires and goals in life.
Absolutely, like 1,000%. So if you can't visualize, you can't see it, go on what I call a strict mental diet for 90 days. If you are literally not allowed, just like a real diet, you're not allowed to ingest anything, listen to anything, watch any movie, any TV show, any podcast that does not strictly align with what you are desiring. So that means if you are calling in a man that is whatever height, looks however, does cooks, cleans, loves you, folds you, all the things, right? Turns you every which way but loose. Cool. If that's what you're calling in, you no longer need to be watching Love Island. You
Nope.
no longer need to be watching all the Tyler Perry movies, right? Because all these things, they are not in alignment with what you're calling in. So either you make excuses about it just being entertainment, or you make a way and you stick to a strict mental diet in order to live from the end. Because your future self, who's happily married, who's waking up to blueberry pancakes and dancing in the kitchen to Sade, she is not watching movies of heartache and struggle. It
Mm-mm.
doesn't align with her.
Yeah, I love that. Let's talk about the tools, girl. Let's talk about what we can do because we got to give the girls what they want. They want to be able to practice some of these stuff. So, what are some of the tools that they can use and apply in their dating lives?
I love that. The number one tool I always recommend it is affirmations, right? We talk a lot about affirmations. I am rich, I am healthy, I am loved, I am chosen. Okay. What happens is the minute you start saying that, your inner critic will be like, girl, DM's so dusty. Like, are you really chosen? Are
Yeah,
you really?
you'll get
So
those
when you
questions like, really? Really? Are you really perfect? Right?
is that, Like the way to get around that is to hack your brain's natural system of having to answer any question you give it. So the minute you say, let's say you're driving home from a date and you're enjoying it, okay, cool, you get home and you don't get a text. And then you're waiting, and the next morning there's still no text. Your brain will start asking questions, right? You'll start saying things like, "Oh my goodness, why do men always ghost me? Why don't they
I
ever
do
choose me?
wrong. Yeah.
I, what did I? Oh, that's a good one. What did I do wrong? Where did I mess up?" Just as a reminder, the minute you ask yourself a question, your brain has to answer it. So when you ask things like, "Why am I never chosen? Why am I always ghosted?" Your brain's going to be like, "Because your forehead's big, because your eyebrows aren't even." Your brain's going to answer disempowering questions with a disempowering answer. The
To
way to
gain control over the situation, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The way to hack the system and get around it is to ask better questions. So
Mm.
let's say you're going on a first date. Oh, I'm so anxious. I don't know what to do. I've always had bad first dates. You're going to start asking questions as in, why am I always chosen? Why am I so confident every time I meet a man? Why is it so easy for me to be myself? Why am I always in the right place at the right time to meet the right people? Even if you don't believe it, it doesn't matter. Your brain does not care what's real, it cares what's repeated. When you use ask formations and you ask empowering questions, your brain has to give you an empowering answer. An ask formation, total game changer. It will change your life very quickly.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that because I think it's such a it flips affirmations on its head a little bit. And ladies, we're giving you the AP, honey. We're not giving you the 101 like some of the other girls do. No shade. Yeah. So ask, not ask, ASS. It's ask, ASK for formations. Yes. I love that. Um, dopamine dressing. Let's talk about that.
Dopamine dressing is another hack that a lot of people don't talk about. So, dopamine dressing is basically based on the research. Scientists have found, studies have found that what you wear, specifically the colors you wear, they can alter your brain's chemistry. They can literally boost your confidence. And also, my favorite, they can actually shift other people's perception of you. We see it in nature all the time. If you never pick up a scientific journal, look at nature. Certain colors are prevalent. Certain colors, oh, look, he wants a mate. That bird wants a mate. He's going to come out with the red chest and the red plumage. Why? Because certain colors are perceived as more attractive, more passionate, more power. You can literally use dopamine dressing to increase your confidence, to appear more attractive. And again, best of all, to me, it's to really help yourself to see yourself as that girl. Again,
Yeah.
if you're wearing your nightie, you're not going to feel too great. But if you start dopamine dressing, you will hack your brain to release more dopamine, more motivation. And again, very specific to the colors you wear. Every color has a different effect on the brain. You can hack the brain, start using dopamine dressing, and get better results in your
What are
dating
some
life.
of the colors? Like, what do some of the colors mean? Do you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So the top we all know it's universally studied for men and women, red. Red actually the brain interprets that as power, as passion, as attractiveness, right? Again, you can kind of look at nature and see this. It gives you the feeling of like, ooh, it's just powerful, it's just sexy, it's sensual. Another for the girlies that are dating, pink. Pink gives a perception of femininity. It gives a perception of playfulness. It's a very different energy, pink from red. Also yellow, when we see someone in yellow, we just get that feeling of it's the happiness, it's the ooh, it's just a good vibe. It's very energetic.
Yeah.
Men, blue, right? Seeing men in blue or a woman to wear blue, it's more calming, more stillness. Green is like vitality, wellness. Purple, luxury, regal. Those are really the main ones. Orange is more so like, energetic and I'm
Yeah.
here. Yeah, but red is really number one for attractiveness and giving you that feeling.
I want to just add on to this dopamine dressing, not just the colors, but like the grooming and taking care of yourself. I hate to be the girl that says this, but research also shows that women that, dress up and wear makeup make 20 to 40% more in salary than women that don't do that as much. And I'm not sharing that as a man to say, you got to put on makeup and you better dress up. What I am saying as a dating coach is that the same benefits that you get in the workplace, you will also get in your dating life. So I do want to add that there's something to this dopamine dressing that Coach Darcel is talking about. And if anything, find ways in which in your life you can do that, not for a man, but for yourself, and to make sure that you're feeling good. And there will be extra benefits associated with that.
Absolutely. I love that. It's huge. And it all depends on the man you're calling in. If you're like, well, I don't want to wear makeup. Okay, girl, maybe you're calling in a man who wants to live off the land and
The
homestead and all.
land.
That's great. It depends on what who wants to milk some cows and goats and sing kumbaya. It's whatever you're calling in. I absolutely love that. Yes.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for all of this. This has been so amazing, so helpful. For all of the ladies that want to do deeper dive into this work and connect with you, how can they?
So you all can find me. I do a lot of sharing and really juicy content on TikTok at Law of Assumption Secrets and also darcelbeing.com. And you can dive in. We can go deeper. I have a Patreon. I have a community, and I call it the Purple Timeline Club. It's all about getting to what I call your purple timeline, which is basically the highest frequency on the visible light spectrum. And also, purple timeline is where you are living your best life. You have the SP, the special person. You have the body. You have the money, the fame, the fortune. You're paid to exist. Whatever you desire, it's already happening. It's there in that purple timeline. So you can join me on Patreon, join the community. But again, if you find me on TikTok, you will see so much content, and I'm always answering DMs and all of that good stuff.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for being here. This has been truly amazing. You're giving the girls new things that they haven't heard about or talked about. And so that's what this podcast is all about. I think that you are such an innovator in this space, especially for Black and Brown women. And I love the five mindsets. Please, ladies, let us know what mindset you're in. And let's make a promise, let's make an agreement that if they DM us what that mindset that they have, that we'll give them some tea in terms of how to step one step closer to that future self mindset. So reach out to us. Don't be afraid. We're here to help. And we'll go from there. Agreed?
Agreed. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Anwar. I really appreciate it.
You're so welcome. All right, ladies, we'll see you on the flip side. We'll see you at your future self. Bye bye. Hey, girl. Thank you so much for listening to the Get Your Guy Coaching podcast. If you like this episode and want to talk with me personally, please book a free consultation at www.getyourguycoaching.com/apply or subscribe and leave me a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. Talk soon.